she blows!
You are about to enter a world unlike any you've ever seen before, where rock and roll is king. The only law is a loaded gun, where the beautiful, the brutal, and the brave all meet.
Reprisal premiered on Hulu in early December of 2019, courtesy of series creator, writer Josh Corbin, and Warren Littlefield's The Littlefield Company. This oddly genre-bent series offers that rarest of modern character-driven story components, an actual story.
They didn't want trouble. You wanted the trouble.
Patience is required, but not too hard to give if you meet it halfway. It's been described variously as neo-noir and a rockabilly ride into revenge. Neither slightly dismissive appellation is entirely accurate. Reprisal is a story with its feet firmly planted in and told through the lens of good old-fashioned speculative fiction. Speculative fiction was never necessarily about ray guns and jetpacks, but also about nearsighted bank clerks and cursed monkeys' feet. In its best form, it's all about the technique of distilling a statement about the world into its essence, allowed for because it strips away mundanity to better allow for only vital questions. In this instance, loyalty, betrayal, love, to be examined against a backdrop purposefully exaggerated to most quickly aid that emphasis. Reprisal is more than worthy of the speculative fiction tag. It's set in a world with its own aesthetic, history, and literature, its own geopolitical conflicts. Here, a recent war in the archipelago and a sparingly hinted plot MacGuffin in the Arctic.
And the mystery in the North Pole continues today, with a controversy brewing over leaked satellite images that appear to depict what many are calling a bizarre hoax.
And a power hierarchy with more in common with the 80s Walter Hill myth Streets of Fire than the not-so-real, laughably real-world setting of something as ridiculous as Law & Order or the 18 different CSI spin-offs. Reprisal strives, like all good speculative fiction, to dispense with all the real-world questions that hamper supposedly reality-based examples of action drama, allowing the story about its characters to be told in the most effective way possible. Along the way, the series tries not to insult your intelligence. It doesn't take shortcuts which defy logic or muddle characterization, or which impinge unduly on the viewer's willing suspension of disbelief. Through the first season, the story's characters are introduced, motivations are developed, actions play out, and conflicts reach crisis, all against a backdrop that never detracts and only adds to the story. The show's casting is almost personality quirk perfect. Characters live within their story niche and the greater whole is palpable, without immediately seeming like the archetypes that they inevitably are. I can't say enough about the casting aspect of the series. From its sociopathic protagonist to its innocence lost provocateur, it works.
How the fuck did that piece get there?
Where's Whit?
Well, he's right where you put him. And that kid, Ethan. That was very clever, Catherine.
Where is he?
Where's your word that something like this would happen to him?
Yes, I was.
What did we learn on the archipelago? Split up if we have to, but what? I believe a man behind. This is different, but it ain't though.
Is the show just perfect? Nope. Not even close. Not even the casting I'm so wild about flows without hiccup. The production values, though solid, are nothing really to write home about. There's a single plot-motivating scene early on that might have the viewer screaming duress. The pacing can be hit or miss. Though it never feels unduly padded, it could have overcome its big ask, that of the audience wanting to embrace this off-kilter world with a quicker, more head-on immersion. That failure to embrace its own alternate world setting is, frankly, its biggest shortcoming. But it is its own story, with characters that are vibrant, taking place in a hyper-immediate world not too dissimilar from our own. And better yet, it isn't an adaptation, a sequel, or a reboot, though genre fans and readers should spot some thematic homage. It aims for the timeless over the contemporary trademark of beating the audience over the head with message before entertainment. It plays out in a genuinely intriguing manner, rather than being content with the insipidly bombastic, and seems, on the whole, never to forget that stories are about plot and characters that remain internally consistent and yet involve meaningful growth. For that alone should be worth an hour or so of your time to get the taste on your tongue. It takes its setup and its characters seriously, plays them straight, never winks at the audience with its own cleverness, and never veers from the aim of the goal of all good speculative fiction. Say something thoughtful, something that engages the audience about something simple in the tapestry of the human condition. And all, again, against that hyper-immediate curtain of consequence allowed for by the speculative fiction oeuvre. The show had some serious missteps in promotion, namely the lack of any real sense as to how to properly promote entertaining, though in essence timeless speculative fiction in today's clickbait world, and a frankly tone-deaf attempt by Hulu and the series lead to pigeonhole the show as a woman gets revenge ultra-woke fantasy. Ignore that, if you can, and give the show a second look.
Let me explain how this works. Once you meet Betty DeBrone and our dear Uncle Lug. And us, we're not brawlers. We're more than that. We're the three river phoenixes, the lifeblood of the brawlers. We're quicker.
We're slicker.
We're a little less thicker.
There's 13 bangerangs, all of them across the Southland.
And we're here, branch 707, the original bangerang.
Bert's bangerang, so they rely on us.
Cash, booze, supply.
And hey, if I'm wrong, we can always grab our trusty sledgehammers and meet to fight it out under the nearest L in District 3.